Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to set up a Salesforce email automation using Power Automate. And this flow is going to use Salesforce connectors, conditions, email actions, variables, compose, and it's going to run on a schedule. So to get started, we are going to select scheduled cloud flow. And this is going to be subscription expiration reminder email. And we want our flow to run every day because it's going to check subscription record expiration dates. And when it finds one with the right filters, then it's going to trigger the flow. So we want this to run every day, and I'm going to set it so that it's going to run at my 7 a.m. I'm selecting 6 a.m. because my Power Automate is set up for Mountain Time, and I am 1 hour ahead of that. And then it's going to repeat every one day. We can go ahead and create, and we're going to have it starting today, but the data's already passed, so it'll start tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and create. And of course, it's going to put us right away into our new designer. So if we want to switch back to our classic designer, we can by using the button up here. And we're going to start out in the new designer because I want this to also be a demo of the new designer. At some point, we will have to switch to the classic designer because there are still, as of December 2023, limitations with the new designer, such as we can't write in HTML. And we're going to need to be able to do that because we have to set up some send email actions that are going to require us to use HTML. So for now, we're going to get started like this. And our very first action after the trigger is going to be a Salesforce action. So we can open here and add an action. And in the search bar, we can search for Salesforce. And we can see that it gives us 3 Salesforce action suggestions. And our first one is right here, get records. If you want to see them all, you can click see more, and it will show you the full list of Salesforce actions. The one that we want is get records. And right away, I'm going to rename this to expiring subscriptions, as that is the records that we're trying to get. Now, the other thing to note is that with the new designer, some characters are not accepted. So I used to previously set up retitle my actions using this, but you can't, it's invalid. So just a note on that. So I'm going to instead use a little dash there. So that's an acceptable character. Now we need to choose our Salesforce object type. So we are going to search for subscription records. So if we type in subscriptions, we can see that it'll give us some options over here. So I'm going to select subscriptions. Now I need to add in a filter. So now I should click here and I can see that it gives me the option for some counts and queries, order by, etc. I'm going to choose filter query, and then I can type in my filter query here. So my filter query is going to narrow down the specific subscription types that or subscriptions that we're looking for. And so I'm narrowing down mine by a product code, a particular product code, which equals LR-training. Now, whenever you type in a query, you need to put in the single quotes around the value here that you're looking for. And this right here, product code underscore, or product underscore code underscore C is the API name. And I have a different video where you can learn about where to get the API names, and I will put that in the description below. I started this writing this expression with a bracket there. And the reason is because I have two different product codes that I'm looking with. So I have an or condition. So I'm going to also search for either the product code, which equals LR-training, or the product code, which equals, and equals is again is EQ, LR, excuse me, I can't type, LR training dash R, which stands for renewal. And I'm going to close that out because the next thing is I'm going to add an and. So the next thing that I need is my subscription end date. So the subscription end date on the subscription record, and the API name, which I happen to have over on the side, so I can just paste it in. This is the API name for the end date, and then that's going to be greater than. So greater than is GT. We type in greater than, and this is where I need to add in dynamic content because I want the date to be greater than today's date, which is an expression. So we need to include an expression here. So if we go over to the side here and in the search, we search for UTC now, that's going to return to the present date. So we can go ahead and click here, and it will and then we click add, and it will add that in there. And we don't need the parentheses around the single quotes around it. So we can go ahead and continue writing. Now the next thing is the same API name, the subscription end date, and then we need our less than, which is LT. So less than, and then for this, we need to write a certain expression. So to bring up our expressions when it doesn't come up automatically, you have these two options. This little lightning symbol is the option for dynamic content, which is data from previous steps, or you have the FX, which is an expression. So if we click on that, we can type in an expression, and you can just type it right in this little box here. And the one that we're looking for is add to time. And it's gonna prompt you right here for that. So we can click on that. And then we do UTC now in the brackets. So we type UTC, or we select UTC now. And then we want to return this value so that it's only getting the so that it's only less than 3 months out from UTC now, from today. So what we do to get that is we put in a comma and then a 3 for 3 months, and then another comma, a single quote, and then month, and it will put in the other single quote for you. So that's what it looks like. That's going to return the value, which is 3 months from today. And so the subscription records that we're trying to return are the ones that are less than 3 months from today. So basically greater than today and less than 3 months from today, and with these product codes. So now that we've typed this in here, we can do add, and now our expression is there. And if you need to edit this for any reason, you just click on it and it opens it back up and you can edit it. We also need one more filter. So we're going to add another and then we have a particular checkbox that exists on all subscription records, and the API name for that checkbox is this. So I'm going to put it's a little checkbox that says do not send training reminders, and then I want that to be false, so which means unchecked. So it shouldn't be, that box shouldn't be checked, so it'll filter that out. Okay, this is a big filter query, but we're all done with this now. So, and we've got our action renamed as we want it. So this is all good. You can either close this by going up here to collapse it, or you don't have to. You can just go here because we're going to put in our next step. So we're going to click the plus, and then we click add an action. Now, our next step, we need to add in a compose, and we want to compose the value for the expiring subscription record ID. So we're going to go ahead and search up here for our compose action, and we're going to get the first one right on the top here. And then the input is going to be subscription record ID. So we click on the dynamic value or dynamic content, sorry. And then from the get records expiring subscriptions action, this one right here, just see more, and then we'll see like it will give us everything. Okay, here it is, record ID. So now we have record ID from the subscription record. And then it automatically adds a for each. So for every record that it finds here, then it will run all the actions that are inside this for each. So we're going to add a bunch more actions in here because we need to get some records related to the subscription. So there are going to be several Salesforce get record, singular, not plural. So we go see more, and then we go get record. And then right away, I'm going to rename this. And the record that we want is the account. So we type in accounts in the object type and select accounts. And then record ID, we select the dynamic content. And then we can search for account. And then you can find account that owns this subscription. So we can select that. And then it put it into another for each, but I don't want it to do that. Let me see if I can put it out here. There we go. And then let's see if we can delete this. Might have to just select it and then more commands, delete. Okay, there we go. So we're going to add another action. It's going to be another get record action. I wish that there was a way to just pin these so I could quickly select them. I don't think they've created an option for that yet. So that's kind of frustrating. You can see get record here, but like they don't give you an option to like pin. Another way you can do it is copy and paste. But copy and paste right now with this new designer is really buggy. So we just have to do it kind of the old school way. We actually missed one. I want my first get record action to be subscription. So I'm actually gonna change this and do get record subscription. And then I'm gonna do subscriptions here. Select that, and then dynamic content again. And we want subscription ID. So that's going to be the ID from the get records expiring subscriptions action, which I had a hard time finding before. So let's close this, and then what we can do is like go down to the get records expiring subscription and click on see more, and then it'll show everything that way. So if you can't find it by typing in certain things, like in the previous designer, like all of the dynamic content listed under here was actually like it started with the word subscription because it's a subscription record ID. So that's why I couldn't find it. Like if I were just search record, there it is right there. So just a heads up on that. So this is the one we want, record ID. Now where did it go? That's weird. I guess it added another for each or what? I don't even know what happened right there. There it is. Okay, it was collapsed, and you can expand it, and then you can see once again, this is just us getting used to the new designer. So it added the for each again. So I don't want it to do that. I want it to all be in this for each loop right here. So once again, we need to delete this. And I guess it's going to keep doing that unless there's a way to prevent that from happening, which I'm not sure. I want to order these like this. So I'm going to move this one up here. So the first action after it composes is the get record subscription, then get record account. I'm going to add another get record. We're actually going to add 3 more. So bear with us because we want to get the account related to the subscription. And now we want to get the contract related to the subscription. So we go to get record and contracts. We search for contracts and there's contracts. And then we add dynamic content and let's search contract. It's going to be the contract that's related to the subscription. So we go down to the get record subscription, dynamic content, and we select contract. Now we've got that. And then let's rename this to get record contract. Okay. That time it seemed to work. It didn't put it into another for each. Not sure why exactly, but that's okay. And then let's add another action. And again, we're looking for a Salesforce. I know I misspelled that, but it still found it anyways. And then get record. I'm going to start by renaming this, try to get in the habit of always starting by renaming it instead of renaming it at the end and then I forget to do it. So this is going to be technical contact. So what we're looking in here for this one is going to be contacts. So we type in contacts and we grab contacts, dynamic content again, and then we might be able to find it if we search technical. Yes, there it is. So under get record contract, because this is the technical contact related to the contract. So we select that one. And once again, it added it in there all nice, just like we want it to. And now it's like looking weird because now it doesn't even give me the option. Let me close this here to like add another action under the for each. So again, new UI and everything is different and everything, well, a lot of things feel very buggy. So that's just how it goes. I don't see a way to like drag or like, let's close this and then let's reopen it. And yeah, it still looks weird. Now I can just click here and add a step in between and then I can reorder it, but that's odd. Okay, we need one more to close out this all of these get record actions. And this one is going to be the object type is going to be users because what we're looking for here is the account owner. And I'm going to indicate that that's a user object. So we type in users and get users. We want the account owner that's related to the account. So if we search for account owner, let's see what we get. So here's the get record account, and then here's account owner. So we can select that and perfect. And then I guess I can reorder this, although it's not really necessary. The order of all of these get record actions is not necessary, just that it is getting them. That's the main thing. So now we need to go and create a couple of compose actions for our subscription end date. And the reason that I'm adding these compose actions is, and they're going to be inside this for each. The reason that I'm adding this is because I need to put the subscription end date into the email, but the format of the end date is like year dash month dash day, something like that. But I want to format it into a much more readable format for that looks nice for the email. So that's why we're doing this. So let's add a compose action. Compose. And then our input is going to be subscription end date. So let's rename this to compose. We'll call it sub end date, subscription end date. And then dynamic content for the input. And we're looking for end dates. Let's see what we get if we just search end date. Here we go, get record subscription, end date. So let's use that. That looks good. And then once again, like weird stuff going on here. So I do at least want to keep this some kind of order. So all of my get record actions happen, and then my compose end date actions happen. But now that we've reordered that, our little plus sign reappeared here, so we can click on that. Yeah, and then we're gonna do one more compose. Oh, I don't know why I clicked see more. Compose. Now this compose action is going to be a expression. So we want to click FX for expression, and we can type in our expression here. And so I want to format date time. So if I start typing, you can see it's the first option there. And then I want to use dynamic content. So I can click dynamic content here. And then I want the dynamic content, the outputs of the compose sub end date. So if I click on outputs, it will put it in there for me like that. But I need to have a parenthesis here. So I add that. And then it's going to be outputs. And then it will, this is the name of the of this action up here, of course. And then I need to indicate what I want to format the new date to. So if I put a comma here, and then a space, and then a single quote, and then I want to do a month spelled out, right? So that's like January, spelled out January instead of 01 or 1. So I add 4 capital M's for that, and then a space, and then a day for a digit year, and then, or digit day, and then comma, space, and then 4 Y's for writing out the whole year. So 2023 instead of 23. And then we need to close this here. That should do it for that. Go ahead and add that in, and then rename this. And I'm going to rename this to formatted sub end dates to distinguish those two. Great. So that's good for that. So the next thing that we need to do is create a variable. So once again, inside here, I'm going to add an action, and it's going to be a variable. And I need to think about this for a moment, because the variable that I want to create is going to be for creating an email distribution list. So basically, what we're trying to do is include some people on our email, I should say. We're going to put them on the CC. And the issue is that we are drawing user emails from various users from the subscription account. However, the thing that we run into is a lot of times our fields for certain users are empty. So you have a case where a account always has an account owner. So we're always going to be able to copy the account owner. But the account also has a field for CSM user. But not every account has a CSM. And then there's other fields that are like that as well. where there's users who are attached to an account, but not every account has a value in that field. So the workaround for that is we create this variable, and then this variable allows us to just add the dynamic content, the output of the variable in the CC line, and then it will send to whoever it's it'll send to any users that do exist on that account. So there's two actions that we need to do to make that happen. And one of them is initializing variable. So we select initialize variable, and then in here, we just give it a name, and you can literally name it whatever you want, just something that makes sense to you. So like email distribution list, I'm just going to call it email distro. And the type is going to be a type string because they are going to be email addresses. And then we don't need to put anything in value. So we're going to go ahead and leave it like that. But I am going to rename this action so that I know this is initializing the variable for email distribution list. And then we're going to add in another variable action in a minute here. But before we can do that, for this demonstration, for this flow, we need to add in a condition. So the condition lives inside our for each. So continuing with the for each, we're going to now add a new action, and we're going to add in a condition. And our condition, we can set up right over here. We can also rename this. We are looking at sending an email that will change who's included on the email dependent on the account region. So in this case, I'm going to have actually 3 different conditions all inside one another. So like if true, then send the email. But if false, then there's another condition which checks for more regions and then sends the email, or if false, checks one more condition for more regions. So this condition is going to check if the account region is North America or Latin America or a subregion UKIM. So we're going to use some groups in here, but the first is checking if the account region is equal to North America. So if we, in the value here, if we select here and we search for a region, we're going to use the region from get record account. So we select region and then is equal to, and then we just type text in here, North America, because the value in the region field in Salesforce is just North America, like that. Now we can add another row here, and we're going to do account region is equal to Latin America. So again, we can search for a region, and then is equal to, and this one is going to be Latin America spelled out. Now we need to add a group. So let's do add group. And this we need to change to or. And then the group is going to be a region with a particular subregion. So in this case, we need first dynamic content, region, and this is going to be region is equal to EMEA, which is a region that we have, and then we add another row for this group, and this one is going to be subregion. So if we search subregion, we select it there, is equal to UKIM. So this is literally 3 possibilities, either subregion, or sorry, either region America, region North America, region Latin America, or region EMEA with subregion UKIM. So both of those have to be true. All right, that will conclude our condition. So now what we can do is add some actions in our true. Need a get records action. If we type get records, I think it'll recognize Salesforce. Yeah. So right at the top, make it quick and easy. And then get records is going to be, I'll rename it to get records users. And then again, we're searching for users here. And now this is where we get a little bit, it gets a little bit complicated. We have to use a filter query to make this happen. So we can select filter query. And then this is where we have two different IDs that we need to grab. So one of them is for account owner, as I mentioned earlier, and the other one is for CSM. So in this case, what we do is we just filter by ID. So the ID equals, and then single quotes, and then here is where we have to put in dynamic content. And apologies, I'm trying to do this and typing in the wrong place. So here's our filter query. So again, ID equals, and then single quotes. And now we can choose from dynamic content. And so what we want is the ID of the account owner. So if we just search owner, and then we're looking for account. So here's get record account, and here's owner ID. So perfect. We can put that in there, close it with a single quote, and then we need to put in an or ID, and it's capital I, lowercase d, and then equals single quotes, another dynamic content. And if we just do customer, let's see, customer success, because I think it's spelled out. Yeah, oh, you can type in CSM. So CSM is here. Let's see, it's get record account. So that is the one that we want. And then we close it with the single quotes. So that one is good to go. Now let's add in another action here. And this action is going to be another variable action. Sorry, I can't type variable. And then we need to see more because we need append to string variable. And now we select email distro from our previous initialize variable action. And then the value that's going to be in here is dynamic content. And it's going to be the get records users. And so if we click see more, what we're looking for is user email. So there's email. And then we also need to put in a semicolon because that is going to allow for more or multiple user emails to be appended to that value. So now this will allow us to basically send include on our email CC line the account owner and the CSM if there is a CSM. And if there's not, don't need to worry about it. Previously, I had to set this up using a condition, and that's no longer necessary because we have a different way to do it. So that's gonna conclude that one. So now we have that. If we expand and collapse, we can see it applied a for each, and that's totally fine. So the next thing that we need to do is add in an email, and that's going to be outside of this for each. Don't need to worry about including it inside. So we add an action, and then we go to send email. And the one that I want is Office 365 Outlook. I'm going to do send an email v2. So now this is where I can't yet fully set this up because I tried it with HTML and it just doesn't work. So we can still do some content in here. So the to line, it's going to be custom value. So going to be dynamic content, and it's going to be the email address of the technical contact. So here's technical contact. So we choose email. That's set up. And then the subject is also going to include some dynamic content. So I'm gonna do your training subscription is expiring. And then I'm going to include the name of the account after a dash. So let's add dynamic content, and then we'll go account name. So account name. And then in parentheses, excuse me, in parentheses, I want to include the subscription number. So I'm going to add dynamic content and search subscription, and I think it's a number symbol. So this one right here. And that will help for a quick lookup for those that are assisting these accounts with their subscriptions. Here's where, for now, I just put placeholder text so that it will actually save something. It had to have something in there. And then down here, advanced parameters, we want to select from, because I want to send it specifically from a particular email address, company email address. And then I want more, and you can just click show all. Let's just do that. Click show all. They will all the advanced parameters will appear. So CC is going to be custom value, dynamic content, and it's going to be our email distro. So we can select that, and that's gonna, again, send to all the people that we need it to send to, which is fantastic. And then BCC, I will also include not custom value. I will also include our department account. Looks good. And I also want to include in my reply to the same email distro. So we do dynamic content and email distro. The reason I want to use HTML in here is because I need to create some links that use dynamic content. And there's no way I can create those otherwise, because I have the link option here. But with this link option, then I need to be able to put in dynamic content in there. There's no way to do that. But there's some other stuff for HTML code that I just can't do. But this is good for now. So in this case, this is the send email to the particular region. So NA or LATAM, UKIM region. That looks good. So as I mentioned, if it's false, I'm adding a new condition. And I'm going to do that for, I'm going to have more conditions because I have a few more regions to work with and different users who are going to be included on the email. So for this email, in addition to the users that are the account owner and the CSM, I'm also going to be able to put in, type in here specific other individuals. And I'm going to do that for every email that I send for the other two conditions. So that's why I have those conditions, because otherwise my email is actually the same. But then it also in the future allows me to customize the email depending on the region, which is a good, there's a likely chance that that's going to be needed. So I'm setting it up this way in anticipation for that as well. All right, this was a long one, and we got to see quite a few different actions in play in the new editor. And how I want to end this, because I'm not going to set it up full flow, just because I'm just repeating what we've already looked at together. So I'm going to save this, and this will give us an opportunity to see, will it save? Did I do anything wrong with this new editor it's not going to like? And of course it did. Let's see. Invalid template and message. The template validation failed. The actions get record referenced by inputs in condition account region. Okay. Are not defined in the template. So that's this one here. I think it doesn't like these. The actions get record are not defined in the template. Look again, we want region, right? So we want the region of the get record account, right? Interesting. It reset those for some reason. Did it for all 4 of these. So I'm not sure why it did that, but we need to re-add these in here again. So get record account region. Now, if you put the mouse over it, the cursor, you're going to see get record dash account, but down here you see get record. So it's like, doesn't make sense to me why it did that. But let's see if we change this and it will work. So get record accounts, and then this one is subregion. So search for subregion accounts. Okay, so I'm seeing it that it looks good right now. So if I save this, will it work? Okay, let's go back. It's the same message, get record referenced by inputs in action condition are not defined in the template. But get record account. Close that and reopen it, and then, oh, weird. It's resetting it every time. Well, that's not great. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna remove this, and then we're just gonna enter a random value in here. So I'm just doing one, and let's save, and let's see. It'll just save, and then allow us to switch. Okay, now we have another failed flow save, fail with code. The variable action, initialized variable, email distro, cannot be nested in an action of type for each. So then if it can't, can I move it out here and then just delete this? That's what I'm going to try. So it seems to be checking from top to bottom. So if our email one is like not right, it cannot be nested in an action of type for each. Oh, because it is like right now, our entire flow is inside this for each. So that right there is an issue. We can, again, just delete this. This is kind of crazy. And then let's save. Let's just see what happens, if it'll save or not, or throw another error. Email distro. Now it's saying this one here. My goodness. That's scared. Oh yeah. Okay. Because I have that down here. So now I gotta delete this too. In here. Let's try this again. I think we just failed all around. But what we can do is go here and then edit. I'm gonna reopen this. So it did take a bit of exploring how to get the initialized variable to work. And the issue is that if we switch over to the classic designer, so we're going to save and switch, and hopefully it saves without issue. Perfect. Now, the issue is that the initialized variable cannot be used inside a for each. So let's just go over here in the classic designer and let's pull up an initialize variable. And you're going to see right away that the warning, the operation initialize variable can only be used at the top level. So it's going to tell you right away, if I try to select this, it's not going to work because it's inside a for each. So if I simply close that and go up here and add it in here, it will accept the action in that location. So let's go back to the new designer, save and switch. And we're going to add the initialize variable action right at the top of our flow here. So I'm just going to put it here. Search for initialize variable. We'll call it email distro, just like we did before. And I'm going to rename this to same thing. And we need to change this to a string. Now we have that action all set. So now we go back down to after our get records users action. And this is where we need to put in our append to variable. So we search variables, append to string variable, and we will select email distro. And this is where we add the dynamic content for the get records users. We're going to need email. So get records users email, and we add in our semicolon. Now we've got that all set up. We can go to, and once again, it automatically adds it into a for each loop. And then we can go to our email. We can click show all of the advanced parameters. And now we can enter our dynamic content from our variable for the email distro. We can add it there. And I also wanted to add it down here as well. So now let's see, variables, here it is. Now we're all set. So now let's save and see if it will save. And if it does, looks like we got this baby to work. So we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.